Hello everyone, welcome back to the TJOmega channel for day 1537 of our daily content grind. What you see on screen right now is what just came in the mail for me today. It is Twin Mill and Bone Shaker from the Hot Wheels collab with Transformers, which is still a crazy thing to realize is a thing. And I'll be doing reviews of both of these this weekend for you. However, number one, don't order from Amazon if you want something mint in sealed box. But number two, it got me to thinking about what other Hot Wheels toys we could possibly see as future additions to this collab. We do know that thanks to computer listings, we do have repaints of these two on the way, and there are apparently a few mystery ones out there too, so more are coming. It's just a matter of which designs from Hot Wheels' iconic library are we actually going to get, and there could be any number of them. So this is just for the uninformed of Hot Wheels, my Transformer collectors out there who just want to speculate on what could potentially be, or see some cool designs that make you go, yeah, I could actually see that happening. I want to see that. Keeping in mind, I'm not a Hot Wheels expert, so I have no idea how many really cool designs I have missed here. I also do not know how popular some of these are. I was researching best Hot Wheels lists. I was also researching weirdest lists. I even researched an ugliest list because I don't really care about what a car designer thinks about the lines and sleekness of a Hot Wheels toy. No, I care about what looks like a cool car and would make a cool Transformer. So that's the only criteria here. So you're going to see designs that probably from Hot Wheels collectors aren't all that popular. But we're going to start simple here and go with the Roger Dodger. This is one that if you see discussions about iconic Hot Wheels designs, you're going to see the Twin Mill, you are going to see the Bone Shaker, and Roger Dodger will come up as well. For me, it is just kind of a normal looking muscle car with just like an exaggerated engine that the driver couldn't possibly see past while they are driving. But still, we have plenty of designs this would work for. I mean, we've had big engine characters in the past. What strikes me with being a Transformer design is that the engine takes up so much mass, it would have to incorporate into the design somehow. Like that would have to be where his head is, kind of hidden away inside the chrome, or it would have to be like a major focal point, or like parts like that might be like where his like forearms or hands go. Something. You can't just have that much mass and not do anything with it. So that would be a fascinating piece of engineering just to see what they would come up with. Also, we do know that these collabs come up with completely new characters, but also if this was an Earth mode Hot Rod, I really wouldn't complain. Another one that kept coming up that was still more on the simplistic side for me was Count Muscula. This one almost strikes me as like, if they were doing Decepticons in this line, and let's be clear, like even Bone Shaker here with his, skull aesthetic and violent red eyes, this is still an Autobot. So I don't think Mattel really wants any of their unique cars depicted as Decepticons. But if they were, Count Muscula would be a great choice as like the young upstart Decepticon that really idolizes the Stunticons and is trying really hard to fit in with them. It'd be a fun little niche to fit into, like the guy trying to be a Stunticon. And that's simple stuff. So let's start getting a little bit more out there. We'll start getting to some more interesting designs. So this is Velocita, or Velocita. I knew I would get that wrong as soon as I looked up the name. It's almost Trax-like. It's almost Corvette-like in how forward the front end is and how far back the actual driver section is. What gets me is that the windshield portion of this is so small, I don't think you could get away with using it as a chest. Meaning you would have to come up with some new design engineering philosophy for it completely. And that is one of the things that I really like about these Hot Wheels collab potentials, because some of these designs are really weird. They are really far out there and nothing like we see in Transformers. So in order to actually make them into a working robot, you would have to change the way you handle things. They would have to be a little bit different, right? So that would produce unique figures, and that's, kind of where, like, I'm just showing off examples now, right? That's kind of like, that's the same realm where Twin Mill lives. Velocita is actually in a similar design idea. So yeah, I that's kind of what I look forward to in some of these, at least as hypotheticals. Another one that's more of a normal car, but I like the lines on it, is La Fasta. Now this one is going to be a little bit weird for me because it does rely on translucent plastic for its signature look. The windshields going down into the doors like that. This one, I just really like the lines and the overall shape. This is one where, like, okay, I will go with the car guys. I will agree with lines, shape, and aerodynamics as far as the design goes. I don't know. I just like the look of it. I just like the look of it, plain and simple. I can't explain why, but also this is another one of those. I could absolutely see Hot Wheels doing this as a collab item. Like, this absolutely strikes me as one that they'd be willing to do. Okay, so that's kind of the realm of, like, the normal-ish cars. I wanted to go to the more outlandish, the weirder, the ones that are doing things that would be impossible on a normal car, but would make a really cool toy because they make a neat Hot Wheel. So this starts off with Night Shifter. And I love the idea of a muscle car that has so much muscle to it that it's actually passing through the windshield and the driver's section of the car, and the engine goes all the way to the back. It's a front end engine and a rear end engine, which makes no sense whatsoever, but I do love the look of it. It's a beefy, powerful car. You have a lot of room for unique aspects here. This could even be like a sideways transformation, like if imagine like both engine blocks were like the shoulders, and you had to design a transformer around there, like doing the car lengthwise instead of starting from the front or the back. That would be cool. That would be cool. I could absolutely see this as something weird like that. It's a neat design. I really like this one. I really like this one, just as like a heavy duty, powerful car. This is the kind of one where you make like your like a car Autobot equivalent of like Ironhide or Brawn. Like, I see this as like a powerhouse character, like someone who's like built beefy, even though they're just a normal car. Normal. If I want to get back into something that's a little bit more on the Decepticon side of things, there's the Sting Rod 2, which very much looks like something out of Mad Max. Yeah, I really, really like the overall look of this one too. You've got like the heavy missiles, the guns in front, there's guns on the side, there's more missiles and guns on the side. Like, it's just completely loaded with weaponry. Now, this is one with a ton of color schemes. This is, I believe, one of the originals. And yeah, there's no way to make an Autobot out of this thing. Like, okay, you can get away with Bone Shaker as maybe just like an artistic car. Okay, fine. I'll give you that one. I still say he looks Decepticon. This one has to be a Decepticon. This looks like if Trax was remodeled into like a Cybertron defense body, like they were in Cybertron. This is just too much, but I love the overall look. Like, I like the heavy rivets around it. I like all the extra weaponry, and yeah, I like the overall body shape too. I think this is an exceptionally cool design. Yeah, I could easily see this as some kind of collab transformer. This one would be a lot of fun. This one would be a lot of fun, but yeah, it has to be a Decepticon. I know they likely do not want to do it, but it's got to be. This is Scuba de Fuego. I'm apologizing now if I'm going to be butchering any of these. This is one of those like concept race car designs that's just absolutely madness, and I really, really, really enjoy that. I like the intakes on the back. If you're making a transformer out of this, I think that would make really cool looking shoulder detail. I like the sunken in dome racer look. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I imagine aerodynamic wise, this is a nightmare because you're creating an air pocket that's going to mess with all of the airflow. But I love the look. I just love the look of this design. Um, Again, coming in a lot of color schemes, I liked the blue and the orange on this one. I'm not entirely sure why. But again, it's just one of those with really cool shapes, really cool lines. Like, this could absolutely be a cool and unique looking Transformer. Though, admittedly, maybe not terribly unique. You know, I could see this just being like, okay, the intakes are the shoulders, but then the canopy just becomes the chest. You know, and you see like the front end becomes the legs. Like you can kind of see where like a design philosophy is going to lead you down that direction. So maybe not for a unique piece, but certainly as, you know, certainly as like a cool looking piece. Now, if we want unique, and we do want unique in this mix, this is Brit Speed. This is looking very different. Okay, so you've got this huge central area that's all engine. From the front grille all the way to the back, it's all to, you know, to where the driver sits. It's all engine. And I love that. I feel like there is something there that could almost be like if we ever got a Transformer of the Tim Burton Batmobile. Pie in the sky will probably never happen. But this feels like it could have the exact same design philosophy behind how such a thing would transform. Yeah, and this is just one where like, okay, you figure out you figure out where all that big engine block goes. Something in me almost imagines a lockdown style transformation where these, because you can see that it's in three parts: the left, the core, and the right. And you can see where the left and right sides would probably fold down and become like very long legs. You would be dealing with like most of the rear section would be the body, and then most of the engine and the grill would fold down to the sides to become the arms. That's what I would do. I would split the engine down the middle and fold them outside to become the arms of the robot mode and just make him like a super tall deluxe. You know, again, very lockdown-esque. But still, I've never seen a Transformer like this. This is where I got into like the really weird looking Hot Wheels, and like, yeah, I could absolutely see this going somewhere. I would love to see this as a robot. Here's one that's going to be divisive. So this is Prototype H24. This is one where I find it on the list of worst Hot Wheels cars. You know, and that usually comes from like the Hot Wheels enthusiasts who are all about like body shape and lines and real world practicality. Like, how does it look compared to like a real, like as a real world vehicle? How well would this stack up? I don't care about that. Like I said, I just think it looks neat. You know, I'm the Marge Simpson meme. I just think it looks neat. In this case, I could see that like it's the front end, right? So they repainted this into like a Darth Vader because the front end has like a vague look of his helmet. And I kind of agree with that. That kind of like, that's an interesting little design element. You could technically do that with Transformers and just like three brandings at the same time, which would be chaos. But I like this one overall because I love the look of the front end. I think that would make a really cool looking chest. If these were actually like based on actual Transformer characters, this would be like my Shockwave. With that, just how interesting that chest shape would look while still keeping his like more traditional look to the overall body. Kind of where I am on that one. I mean, to a car enthusiast, yeah, this vehicle probably looks ridiculous, and you know, that's absolutely fair. I like the look of it. More importantly, I think it'd make a really cool looking Transformer. I think this would be great for like, if season 3 had a Decepticon car outside of like Runabout and Runamuck, I would see it as this. Like, this would be the type of shape and this would be the type of body I would go for. I like it. I like it. I'm sorry I like it. How about the Fantastique? Now, this one is interesting, and you might not be able to see why from this shot, admittedly. It's fascinating to me because the rear end of this vehicle is way narrower than the front end. The front end is super wide, and then it gets super narrow in the middle, and then it widens out again in the back. And this is another one I picked because I think as an engineering challenge, it's fascinating. You know, I really like the look of it for that. So coming up with a unique Transformer as a robot based on how weird the vehicle mode looks. That's another thing that appeals to me in all of this. We're coming up a little bit to this is taking a little bit longer than I thought, so we're going to speed through some of these here. This is just getting my general thoughts out here. Number 12 on the list, I had the dual fueler, and this is again one where I just like the look of the toy. Now, granted, this one is practically incapable of being a transformer because of those gigantic rear wheels taking up about a third of the mass of this toy. But everything else I think could work. If you could figure out how to use those gigantic rear wheels, like a big hammer accessory, turbine, shoulder pads, something, I think you would definitely have a unique toy. You definitely have a unique looking figure at the very least. The trick here, engineering wise, would just be the front end. The two sides are like the only place that has any bulk. I include it because it's a fun toy. It's a fun looking figure, but I don't think it's all that practical to make a transformer out of. So honestly, like, I'm throwing this in mostly because I think it looks neat. Here's another one where it's probably impractical to turn into a transformer, but I like them to try because it touches place we don't normally go with transformers. And that is the dragster. For as long as dragster racing has been around, we have gotten exactly one transformer that has actually taken design from it, and that was a mini-con. That was Incinerator from Armada. We need a little bit more representation of the body type, though. To be honest, yeah, it's very, very hard to work into a toy. This is mad fast, and I would love to see it as a transformer, but it would have to be pretty thin and gangly in order to work it. And that means those rear wheels, the giant rear tires, are going to be very difficult to work into the overall design. He does not have a whole lot of bulk to go on, and that's the shame of it, because I like the look overall. And again, it goes to an area we don't normally get to discuss. So it's unlikely. It's an unlikely. But I like the look. It'd be cool. Here's one that I found on a list of the most valuable potential Hot Wheels toys. If you have the pink one, it's worth thousands. But overall, it's Superfine Turbine, an older design from Hot Wheels, much more in the classic varieties. But this kind of hits a niche that matches with Transformers. Aside from the fact that it's a bit of an old-timey design that we don't normally get Transformer toys out of, it hits that Euro G1 Turbomaster vibe of having that giant turbine in the center of the body. Like, that leads to really cool things. And because of the Turbomasters, we know that Transformers can engineer around that giant central turbine. So I would love to see that done up in a brand new modern styling of a Transformer, but using this classic design too. I think it's a really neat nod to like a more historical piece from Hot Wheels overall. It's at this point I realized that if I was going to continue with this list, it would just have to get into like the super weird stuff. And while car enthusiasts are probably going to like scoff at a lot of those designs, you can't deny Hot Wheels does sell a lot of the weird ones. And I think there needs to be an appreciation for the weird ones. So can we get away with Salt Shaker? Salt Shaker is literally just 4 wheels, a pair of gigantic turbines, and a pair of jet engines. It's the most absurd looking race car I think I have ever seen in my life, and I want it as a transformer. I don't know how you make it transform, but I want it. I wanted to end off on 2 odd ones, because I realize I'm just going with things that there are plenty of Hot Wheels that are not cars, by the way. You know, we got cars, we got motorcycles, we got vans, we got trucks, we got monster trucks and semi trucks, and like all manner of vehicles have been a Hot Wheel at this point. I've been focusing in on cars because these are generally going to be Autobots no matter what. But there's a few odd ones I wouldn't mind. For starters, Railrodder. I love the idea of someone turning an old locomotive and like souping it up into a hot rod with like these massive like racing engines installed into it. Is it practical? No. Would it be a very small train that would not be in scale with anything else? Yes. I don't care. This would be a lot of fun. I would have a lot of fun with this one. That's mostly just me wanting more locomotive transformers, you know? Like, I would love a locomotive transformer to exist that wasn't Astro Train. You know, that it doesn't have like a a third mode to muddle up the look or the engineering. I just want a locomotive transformer. Why is that so hard to ask? Because toy trains don't sell in the US. I know. Do a crossover with Thomas the Tank for all I care. But that said, there's one aspect of Hot Wheels toys that I do think needs to be respected. I think this one is exceptionally obvious. How about Rodzilla? Granted, the transformation is very obvious because it's one of the few Hot Wheels toys that has visible arms and legs. This would absolutely have to be something that's like a third mode, right? Like the dragon, just taking the dragon and unfolding it from the vehicle mode here just has to be like a thing you can do and then it transforms. Like if we ever do a triple changer, this is it. But Hot Wheels does so many designs like this, you know, it looks like a cobra, it looks like a shark, it looks like a dragon. Hot Wheels does so many of these designs, I feel like it would be a disservice not to include them in the crossover fun. So yeah, I feel like for just the collectors of these oddball stuff, you do need to include one. If this toy line goes far enough, I do feel like this realm of Hot Wheels needs to be respected. So that's what I got for you. Those are the ones that I could research in the time I had today. I love the idea of Hot Wheels collabs because it's this realm I never thought would exist in the first place, and it presents so many different possibilities. Like, it seems like something they could tap for a long time, and I wouldn't just be all about it the whole way through. But that is up to Mattel and Hasbro, and it's up to us to support if they do good toys. And as I said, this weekend, I will tell you if they did their first toys good or not. So, that's it for me today. Thank you everyone for watching this weird little research rabbit hole I went down. So if there's any other Hot Wheel designs that I'm not aware of, please leave them in the comment section below, because I would love to take a look at what we might actually get out of all of this. But until then, thank you very much. I will see you next time.
Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.